We got the straight blocker. We got the flush blocker. Let's go for it. The Wynn, $400, 40K guaranteed one-day event, part of their Wynn series. There is a trophy on the line. I know you see the Encore in the background, but don't get it twisted. This is a Wynn Classic event, but it's held at the Encore Poker Room. They are sister properties. The Wynn is right there. There's the Encore. You can park at either one, walk right over to the poker room. Wynn used to have a poker room, but now it's at the Encore. Brand new poker room, great floor, great dealers. Highly recommend you check it out when you come to Vegas. Use bonus code Boski. No, I'm just kidding, there's no bonus code, but you'll thank me later. Let's go win this tournament. With blinds at 200, 500, 500, 15,000 starting stack. We've lost a few small pots. Action folds to a male on the button, age 35 to 45. He makes it 1,200. Small blind folds. We're in the big blind with Jack 8 offsuit, Jack of hearts, 8 of diamonds. Definitely put in the call here with our 12K stack. Flop comes ace, 10, 7, rainbow, 1 heart. We check, he bets larger than he really should, 1,700. We got the nut gutter, so I don't think our hand is good to fold. It's not that great to call with, and check raise isn't very credible on an ace high board with these positions. So we put in the call with some plans for various turns and rivers. Hopefully he'll shut down, we'll have some bluffing opportunities, or we'll get there. The turn is a 10 of hearts, putting a second heart on the board. And I think about leading out. This is a good card to lead out on. The 10 hits our range harder than his, and we can fold out all of his air, small pairs, and straight draws that he was just stabbing the flop with. Of course, he's probably going to still continue with an ace, but I think a bet of around 2,200 would be a good play. But I do not do that, and I check. He checks behind. So he could be pot controlling with an ace, afraid that we do have a 10. The river's the queen of hearts. Backdoor hearts gets there. We have the Jack of hearts blocker. We could have King Jack. We could have a 10. So this is probably a great spot to bluff. But we don't do that. We check, and he bets 4,600. I have just over 9,000 in my stack. And I'm thinking about a check min raise. What an epic bluff this would be. How often do people check min raise rivers? We got the straight blocker, we got the flush blocker, let's go for it. But I do not go for it, and I fold. I don't know how much worse I could have played this hand, but here we are. 16. On second break with 8,500 chips going to 500, 1,000. Re-entry period is now over. We're in for one bullet. Let's run it up and make the final table and get our first trophy during a Wynn series in almost 10 years. I'm not giving up hope. With blinds at 300, 600. Middle position, Caucasian woman, age 50 to 60, limps. Man of Indian descent, next to act, who just sat down, and my read on him is he's wild, makes it 2,000. Action folds to us in the small blind. I have pocket fives, 8,000 chips. What do you guys do here? Shove? I don't think calling's good. Do we have fold equity? That's an important question to ask. I go deep into the time bank and eventually fold. Pocket fives. 14 blinds. Just didn't feel like gambling. Results oriented. Crazy Indian male ends up having ace king, and the flop is jack jack 5. Immediately regret that we missed our great double up opportunity.
Well, if it's a club that matches one of the other 2 cards.
With blinds at 600, 1,200, we've managed to fold most hands and get a few shoves through. Not much to report except for Asian woman, age 21 to 40, raises under the gun +1 to 3,300. Folds around to A man that wants to be described for the vlog as a good-looking male, he said it, makes it 19,000 with about 15,000 behind in the cutoff. I'm in the small blind with 2 red 10s. Under normal circumstances, this is a fold. Even with our meager 8 blinds or whatever, probably still gonna fold pocket 10s here, but based on his sizing, I'm putting him on exactly ace king. I know you're not supposed to put a man on the hand, but I mean, I'm just putting him on ace king. And 10s are good versus ace king, plus the big blind ante, and if the original girl folds, we're getting a great price. We got to play to win. Let's gamble. I'm all in. Big blind folds. 21 to 40-year-old Asian girl. Tank folds. Queen jack. I know, tough spot for her. And this is what happens. We have video. Ace king. You? 10s.
Let's do it.
Let's hold. 57%. Brick. Brick.
Hey, where's my 7?
And a brick. All right.
Shot ace queen.
Thank you.
No math at the table.
Yeah.
Even thinking is discouraged, but not against the rules.
Yeah.
I should check it.
Well, I know, but
College kid against
15-5.
They loved it.
Our 24,000 chip stack is decimated by lack of activity. We folded down to 12,000 chips. Not fun at all at a table full of mostly amateurs. I mean, it's a good thing. I do love amateurs. But in this situation, we want some hands, we want to get value, we want to pick some spots and accumulate. We just had no opportunity to do so. With blinds at 1,000, 2,000, 2,000, under the gun limps, we're in middle position with ace king offsuit and 40,000. So definitely profitable jam, but I think we can extract more value from our opponents behind us and just make it 10,000 to go. Guy on my left shoves all in for just over 12,000, and everybody else folds. We put in the call and we're up against queen jack offsuit. Let's hold. The flop comes king 6 deuce. 4 on the turn means he's drawing dead, and we're now on dinner break with 65,000 chips. Patience pays off. Let's pick some good spots. We're rapidly approaching the money. Let's abuse the bubble, come to the final table as chip leader, and win my first trophy in almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Alright, Jordan players, about 96 left on the break. Should we add your seat this time?
With about 22 players remain, blinds are at 1,500, 3,000. We're in middle position with about 60,000 and ace 10 suited. So I make it the minimum, 6,000. We want to raise as small as possible to play post flop with these guys. We want to lower variance and exude our edge in post flop situations. Everyone folds with the big blind who flicks in the call. The flop comes queen 5 deuce with the 5 deuce of clubs. We got a flush draw. He checks. I put in the same bet, 6,000. He quickly check raises to 13,000 off 150K stack. This usually means one of two things. He's repping a set, or he has a 5 or a weak queen and he wants to find out where he's at. Well, I'm about to tell him where he's at. I'm all in. He shakes his head and eventually folds, and we take it down with the semi-bluff. We play a tight as right game as the bubble approaches, and we're now hand for hand. 16 players remain, 15 pay. We have 50,000 in our stack.
Someone said no bubble.
First hand of hand for hand, cut off limps. Small blind completes. We're in the big blind with pocket aces. I love pocket aces. So we could play scared and just rip it in here, but I think they're just never going to call because they would have raised if they had a hand they could call with. So we want to milk them. We want to get max value. I make it 16,000. Original limper folds and small blind says, oh, 11,000 more, I call. Flop comes queen, 8, 7. He checks. I want to bet a little bit less than half my stack, hopefully induce something, or just get value from one pair. I'm not afraid to bubble. So I bet 11,000, and he folds pocket nines face up. What the hell's going on? How did he not get it in pre? And we chip up the first hand of hand for hand. 8-handed, the very next hand, there's a limper, and we're in the small blind with ace queen offsuit. Not gonna play as fancy with this one. We're just gonna go for max fold equity and rip it in. We shove, and everybody folds, we take it down. We're up to about 90K, all right.
Players and dealers. As a result of that last hand, the money bubble has burst during the money for today. Congratulations.
We are now in the money. That's right, $900 locked up.
The players just doing a list check for this 1-2 pop.
With blinds at 3,000, 6,000, I have king 10 suited in middle position. We're 6 or 7 handed. I make it 12,000. Big blind defends. Flop comes jack, 9, 5, 1 club. We got an over, we got a gutter, we got the BDFD, so let's c-bet 12,000. He puts in the call. Turns the ace of clubs. We have about 80,000 behind. Great card for our range. He's not going to be check calling many aces other than maybe ace 5 or ace 9. So we want to put out max pressure with our huge combo draw. After he checks, we bet 40,000. Planning to call a shove, but he should fold out most of his one pair type hands at this point. He does fold, and we take down a nice pot. We're now on break with 12 players remaining and 120,000 chips. Let's get to the final table. With 11 players remaining, I'm under the gun with 2 black jacks. Blinds are 4 and 8,000, so I make it 18,000. Started this hand with about 140,000. Action folds to a Canadian banana player who puts in the call. We're heads up. The flop comes. Ace, ace, 4, 2 hearts, 1 diamond. I'm going to play my hand as face up as possible and try to get value from all of his mid-pair type hands and fold out any hands that have overcards and equity. So I bet a minuscule 12,000, and he thinks about it and puts in the call. Turns a 3 of hearts, putting a flush out there. So instead of being scared, we're going to go for that thin value. He's going to continue pretty much with all of his mid pairs, especially his mid pairs that contain 1 heart. So we now bet 18,000. His drink arrives. He's messing with the cocktail waitress, and he eventually puts in the call. This player has a tell. If he tanks, he's got a weak hand. If he bets quickly, he's got a strong hand. So I think we got the best hand. The river card's a deuce of diamonds, 4 to a straight, 3 to a flush, 2 aces out there. Time to put in that value bet, 20,000 chips. He goes in the tank and measures out a min raise. That's right. The old river min raise. What's he repping? Most people would fold here. But yeah, his story just doesn't make any sense. And getting what? 10 to 1 on our money. We're going to put in the call. He shows king 3 offsuit. Yeah. Sometimes you just got to throw logic out the window and put in the call. And we now have over 200,000 chips. Since I use the free iMovie app on my iPhone to edit, I am not able to upload vlogs that are longer than 15 minutes in length. Subscribe, it's free, and hit the alerts button to be notified of when part 2 of this Wynn $400 40K will be released. You won't believe what happens at the final table.